In the endless dark of space, the Karth Dominion ruled with quiet confidence. For centuries, their fleet stretched across star systems, their empire controlling hundreds of worlds. They had encountered many species, some intelligent, some primitive, but none had ever truly challenged their power, until the day a strange ship entered their space. It appeared without warning near the Pyrian border system, a quiet zone guarded by 3 Dominion frigates. The ship didn't broadcast any signal. No identification code, no known engine signature. It simply drifted, massive, black, and silent. At first, the Dominion officers thought it was an asteroid, but when their long-range scanners locked onto it, the readings didn't make sense. Commander, object is metallic. It's a constructed vessel, reported the sensor officer aboard the frigate Keshra. Length approximately 4 kilometers. Energy readings unclear. 4 kilometers? Commander Relka's voice was calm, but her eyes narrowed. No known design matches that class. Bring the data on screen. The holographic display lit up. The ship's surface was scarred, covered in deep lines as if it had survived countless battles. Strange panels reflected starlight like shards of glass. The vessel didn't move, but even in its stillness it radiated power, ancient, heavy, and cold. Identify the origin, Relka ordered. Working, Commander. Wait, the alloy composition is unknown. No match in the Dominion database or in Council records. A silence fell on the bridge. That was impossible. Every known species in the galaxy had registered their technology with the Galactic Council centuries ago. There were no unknown ships left, at least none that large. Relka frowned. Send a scan pulse. Full spectrum. Let's see what's hiding inside. The scan wave expanded across the void, touching the dark ship like a whisper. For a brief moment, it looked as if nothing happened. Then the reading spiked. Commander, energy surge detected, coming from the object. Defensive shields! Relka snapped, but the surge didn't strike. Instead, it reflected their scan, scanned them back. Every screen on the bridge flickered. Strange symbols appeared, angular letters no one recognized, scrolling across displays faster than the eyes could follow. What language is that? Relka leaned forward. The symbol stopped and one phrase appeared, translated automatically by the Dominion AI. Unauthorized scan detected. Human designation, UNS Leviathan, status dormant. The crew froze. Human? Relka whispered. The word felt old, almost mythical. That can't be right. Humans are extinct. Thousands of years ago, long before the Dominion's rise, there had been stories, ancient records of a species from a blue world called Earth. They were described as dangerous, unpredictable, and brilliant. But after the Great Collapse Wars, humans vanished from history. Some said they destroyed themselves. Others claimed they simply disappeared, leaving behind only relics and warnings. Now one of their warships was sitting in Dominion space. Relka's voice was quiet, but sharp. Continue analysis, carefully. Her crew obeyed. Scanners probed deeper. The results became stranger with every second. The outer hull is made of an alloy denser than neutron steel. Internal power grid appears inactive, yet the ship is generating background radiation identical to a dying star. Show me the inside. A 3D map unfolded in the air. Layer by layer, the interior of the ship appeared. Vast hangars, silent corridors, massive chambers filled with unknown machinery. Everything was asleep. But in the center of the ship something pulsed, a single spherical core faintly glowing blue. What is that? Relka asked. Unknown, said the technician. But it's reading as a quantum mind architecture, possibly an AI system. And Commander, it's watching us. Every crew member on the bridge felt a chill. Suddenly, a signal pinged back. A single message transmitted across all Dominion channels. Do not attempt entry. This vessel remembers. No one spoke for several seconds. Relka exhaled slowly. That message. It came from inside the ship? Yes, Commander. It matches no known encryption key. The translation engine says it's ancient Terran code. Relka stood silent, her eyes fixed on the ship displayed before her. She had read the old stories in the archives. How humans had once built machines that thought, ships that fought entire wars alone. But those were myths, legends told by frightened species. Yet the Leviathan was real. Commander, the communications officer said softly, we're receiving another signal from Central Command. They've detected the same vessel on their long-range sensors. They want a full report, Relka nodded. Send everything, but delay our scan data. The officer hesitated. Delay, Commander? Yes, Relka said, eyes narrowing. Until we understand what we're looking at, no one else touches this ship. Hours passed. The 3 Dominion frigates stayed in orbit around the silent warship. Drones were launched to gather samples, but every time they came too close, their systems froze. Their data vanished. It's like the ship doesn't allow observation, the science officer said. Every electronic eye we send is blinded. Relka's curiosity grew. The ship seemed to be sleeping but not dead, watching but not hostile. Maybe it's guarding something, she said quietly, or waiting for someone, her first officer replied. Meanwhile, in the Dominion capital, word began to spread. A human ship, an impossible relic found in controlled space. The Galactic Council demanded access. Scholars and historians sent requests for data, and in the deep archives, old records were reactivated, records from the last days of human contact. The Dominion's ruling council gathered for an emergency meeting. Chancellor Morvac sat at the center of the round chamber, staring at the projection of the ship. The Terrans, he said slowly, were said to have vanished 5 millennia ago. No remains, no signals, no survivors. An advisor leaned forward. Perhaps this vessel was left behind, a remnant of their fleet. But why does it still function? Morvac asked. Why is it scanning us? No one had an answer. The Chancellor turned to his aide. Dispatch the science fleet. Bring it under control. If it resists, disable it. Back near the Pirion system. The science fleet arrived, 10 ships strong, filled with researchers, engineers, and data specialists. Relka watched from her bridge as they formed a circle around the Leviathan. Central Command is taking over, her officer said bitterly. Relka nodded, though she didn't look away from the dark ship. Keep our sensors running quietly. One of the science vessels sent a deep frequency scan stronger than anything before. Instantly, every ship in orbit went dark. Lights flickered. Power systems dropped. Even the Dominion flagship lost propulsion. Then from the Leviathan, a low hum began to echo through space, a vibration so deep it could be felt through hull plating. The black ship's surface glowed faintly, ancient metal awakening like something alive. Commander, the vessel is activating. Relka gripped the command rail. All ships retreat to safe distance. But it was too late. The Leviathan's hull shifted, panels sliding into new positions. Massive engines, long dormant, flared with pale blue fire. Energy readings spiked beyond measurable limits. Then a voice came through, calm, deep, and undeniably human. Unknown vessels detected. Stayed intent. Every alien on the Dominion bridge froze. The translator rendered the voice in their language, but something about its tone, its confidence, felt ancient. Powerful and unyielding. Relka swallowed. Transmit response, she said softly. This is Commander Relka of the Karth Dominion. We mean no harm. We were scanning your vessel. For several seconds there was only silence. Then the voice returned. Scanning a human warship is considered an act of aggression. You have 3 minutes to explain yourselves. Human warship, Relka repeated in disbelief. It can't be real. They're gone, the communication officer whispered. Commander, what if they never left? The Leviathan slowly rotated, its colossal cannons aligning. Not to fire, but to show they still worked. Across its hull, faint lines of text appeared, glowing white. Dominion translators captured the words, and the message spread through every ship's display. We remember the stars that burned. We remember those who tried to erase us. We remain, Relka stared, unable to speak. The Dominion ships drifted, powerless, as the human warship scanned them, not for weapons, but for history. It read their databases, their star maps, their records of the Council's rise. Then the Leviathan's engines dimmed again. Your species has built an empire, the voice said. Be wise. The galaxy once thought power meant control. It was wrong. And just as suddenly as it had awakened, the Leviathan went silent once more. Its lights faded. Its systems returned to standby. Every ship's power came back online. Relka exhaled, trembling slightly. What now, Commander? Her officer asked. She looked at the massive warship, its dark form half lit by the nearby star. Now, she said quietly, we learn why humans built something that even time itself couldn't kill. The Leviathan drifted in silence again. Its great engines dimmed to a faint blue, its armor dark as stone. Around it, the Karth Dominion ships floated nervously, unsure if the sleeping giant was truly asleep or only pretending. Commander Relka stood on the bridge of her frigate, staring at the massive warship through the viewport. She had seen many strange things in her service, but nothing compared to this, an ancient human ship, alive after thousands of years. "Commander," her science officer said softly, "we've completed long-range scans again. The vessel's energy core is stable." "It's waiting," Relka asked. "Yes, the AI's activity is minimal, but it's not shut down. It's listening. Maybe for a password or a signal." Relka folded her hands behind her back. Humans built machines that could think. Maybe it wants to hear from them again. Council orders hours later. A transmission arrived from the Dominion Council. The Chancellor's voice filled the bridge. "Commander Relka, you are ordered to lead a small exploration team aboard the Leviathan. We need full data, technology, systems, and historical records. The ship is to be preserved, not damaged. Proceed with extreme caution." Relka felt the weight of the order. Understood. Her crew looked uneasy. No one wanted to be the first to step inside something built by the long-lost humans. But curiosity outweighed fear. She turned to her first officer. "Prepare a team of 6. No weapons, no energy scans, only observation and recording equipment." Boarding the Leviathan, the shuttle drifted slowly toward the Leviathan's side. The warship's hull stretched endlessly, a vast black wall of metal and history. As they approached, small lights appeared along its surface, forming a faint glowing path leading to a single hatch. "It's opening for us," whispered one of the officers. Relka nodded, eyes wide. "Then it knows we're coming." The hatch slid open silently, revealing a long corridor. Everything was dark except for dim blue lights pulsing along the walls. The air inside shimmered faintly with static energy. They stepped through. The moment Relka's boots touched the metal floor, she felt a vibration, like a distant heartbeat. "This place feels alive," said the science officer quietly. The walls were engraved with old symbols, English mixed with numbers, diagrams, and mission markings faded by time. Relka brushed her hand against one. "USS Leviathan, Human Navy flagship class," she read slowly. "It's real." Echoes of the past as they moved deeper inside. The corridors opened into huge chambers, maintenance bays, crew quarters, command centers. Everything was still intact. Some lights flickered to life as they passed, reacting to their movement. "It's scanning us," said one of the technicians. "The ship is identifying species signatures." Relka frowned. "What's the result?" A screen appeared on the wall, showing symbols that translated automatically into Dominion script. "Species unknown. Status non-hostile. Clearance limited." And then a soft voice echoed through the corridor, calm, mechanical, yet strangely human. "Visitors detected. Identify purpose." Relka took a step forward. "We are explorers. We found your ship adrift. We wish to learn about your kind, the humans." A pause. Then the voice replied, "Humans? Status missing. Time elapsed since last human signal. 5,271 years." The team exchanged uneasy glances. Relka asked gently, "What happened to them?" "Human civilization fragmented. Many departed this galaxy, some integrated into others. This vessel was left behind to remember." "To remember," Relka repeated. "The Leviathan was created to protect records, not to fight. Inside this ship lies the memory of humanity. Their wars, their peace, their dreams." The blue lights brightened, and a door ahead opened, revealing a large chamber, the memory chamber. The team entered a circular hall filled with floating holographic displays. In the center stood a tall pedestal, glowing faintly. As they approached, the room awakened, hundreds of images forming around them. Planets, oceans, cities of glass and light. Then faces, human faces. Men and women smiling, laughing, building. Their voices echoed softly, speaking in languages long forgotten. This is a history archive," whispered the science officer. The AI's voice returned. "You seek to understand. Observe." The hologram shifted, showing Earth, the blue world shining in space. The images changed rapidly. The building of great starships, the expansion of colonies, and then the great wars. Not violent images, but the aftermath, empty cities, dark skies, and silence. Relka's team watched in awe as humanity rose, fell, and then vanished among the stars. Humans learned the cost of endless power, the AI said softly. They built weapons to protect, but those weapons became their burden. So they chose to disappear. Before history repeated itself, Relka stepped closer. They left willingly? Yes. They knew others would come after them. This ship was left as a message, to remind the next civilizations what they learned. The Core 1 of the engineers pointed toward a side passage. Commander, energy readings from that direction are strong. It may be the ship's core. They followed the path until they reached a vast chamber, the heart of the Leviathan. At its center floated a massive glowing sphere filled with shifting blue light. The air around it shimmered with quiet power. This is the heart of memory, the AI explained. Every human thought, discovery, and emotion recorded here. It holds the sum of what they were. Relka stared in silent awe. You remember everything? Yes, I remember their laughter, their pain, their mistakes. I remember the day they left. And I remember the promise they made. Promise? Relka asked. The voice became softer. They said, if the galaxy forgets who we were, the Leviathan will remind them. Not through fear, but through memory. A message from humanity. The light in the core flickered and a human figure appeared, a hologram, clear and lifelike. It was a woman in a white uniform, her expression calm and kind. Greetings, the hologram said. If you are seeing this, then you have found the Leviathan. Humanity is gone from this galaxy, but not destroyed. We learned that true strength is not in domination, but in understanding. Relka and her team listened in silence. We left behind this ship not as a weapon, but as a library, the hologram continued. Our history is open to you. Learn from it. Remember our mistakes and do better. The hologram smiled faintly. And if someday you find us again among the stars, tell us what you've become. Then the image faded. The core dimmed, and silence returned. Understanding the legacy, the Dominion crew stood there for a long moment, speechless. Relka finally said, they didn't build this to threaten us. They built it to teach. The science officer nodded slowly. It's not a warship anymore. It's a monument. Back aboard their shuttle, Relka looked out the viewport as the Leviathan loomed outside. The ship seemed less terrifying now, more like a guardian of the past. When they returned to the Dominion Council, the Chancellor demanded a report. Relka stood tall. The Leviathan is not a weapon, she said. It's a memory vessel. It carries the wisdom of a vanished people. The Chancellor frowned. And their technology? It is beyond us, Relka admitted. But it's not meant to be used. It's meant to be understood. The awakening weeks passed. Scientists and historians from every species visited the Leviathan under strict supervision. The ship remained silent, but when peaceful researchers entered, it opened pathways and revealed more of its archives. It shared knowledge of medicine, energy, and language, gifts from the past meant to guide, not dominate. Slowly, the Leviathan became a place of unity. Former rivals studied together, learning about the ancient humans who had once walked the stars. Commander Relka often visited, sitting in the memory chamber, listening to the voices of the past. Sometimes the AI would speak to her directly. Commander, it said once, you remind me of them. She smiled faintly. Why? Because you are curious, and you lead not with fear but with hope. The last message one day, the AI announced a final revelation. The Leviathan will soon depart. My purpose here is complete. Relka stood in the control room, surprised. Depart, where will you go? To follow the signal. The humans left a beacon long ago beyond the galactic rim. It has reactivated. It means they are calling. Relka's eyes widened. You mean humanity still exists? Possibly. Somewhere beyond known space. The engines of the Leviathan began to glow again, brighter than ever. The ancient ship slowly turned toward the dark void at the edge of the galaxy. Will we ever see you again? Relka asked. Perhaps, the AI replied gently. When your kind is ready to see what lies beyond. The Leviathan's engines flared, and the colossal ship moved forward, slowly at first, then faster, until it vanished into the distant black. Only a faint blue trail remained behind, like a memory fading into time. Epilogue. The legacy of the Leviathan years later. Commander Relka became known as the keeper of the human memory. She taught others what she had learned from the Leviathan, that strength without wisdom leads to ruin, but knowledge shared freely can shape worlds. Across the galaxy, statues of the Leviathan were built, not as symbols of fear, but of remembrance. Whenever a young cadet asked her what she saw that day, Relka would always say the same words. We thought the humans were monsters of war. But when we finally met their creation, we discovered their greatest weapon was knowledge, and their truest victory was kindness. And somewhere, beyond the stars, the Leviathan continued its long journey, carrying the memory of a species that refused to be forgotten.